من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره الكافرون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We start as we always start with Inna alhamdulillah. Indeed all praise is due to Allah. Indeed all praise is due to Allah. Inna alhamdulillah. Every sort of praise. Alhamd, the entire genus of praise is for Allah. So that when you praise something that you see, you praise the manifestation of Allah's attributes in it. That when you praise the beauty of a flower, or you praise the good action of a person, you're praising the manifestation of Allah's attributes in that thing. That Allah has attributed His Jamal in that thing. So we say, Inna alhamdulillah. And how much do we have to praise Allah for? How much do we have to praise Him for? That He has gathered us, alhamdulillah, and we're all sitting together. After a week has gone by, and we haven't sat and done this ritual that we do every week. We're sitting together again with our hearts oriented towards the same direction. We're literally sitting and facing the same direction, and our hearts are metaphysically facing the same direction. Our hearts are oriented towards Allah. This is magnanimous. This is something huge, that we should recognize the significance of what we're doing here, sitting here, gathering and worshiping Allah, and listening to a reminder about Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there's people out there who don't know to be doing this. There's people out there who don't know that they should be at a certain place, at a certain time, doing a certain action. There's people who aren't blessed with that. And we should love for those people to have that. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. That none of you truly believe until you love for yourself what you love for your brother. And Imam Nawawi radiallahu anhu says, comments on this hadith, that what is your brother? It does not just mean your brother in Islam. It means your brother in humanity. That what you have right now, you should love for your brother in humanity. This is what we're blessed with, an opportunity to do this. And we're given these opportunities throughout our lives. That daily these reminders to orient ourselves towards Allah come. And what is that form that it comes in? The prayer. And we're here to pray to alhamdulillah. And then weekly, how does it come? In the form of Jum'ah. So now we're gathered today on Friday, and it's Jum'ah, alhamdulillah. It's Eid. We have 54 Eids. Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, and the 52 Fridays. So we have this Jum'ah to gather and reorient ourselves. In case we've lost direction, in case we've lost consciousness of Allah, then we have this Friday to remind us. Then monthly we have a way to orient ourselves towards Allah, and that's to go out and sight the moon, to go and look for the moon and look for the signs of Allah. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ardi waqtilafil layli wan nahari laayatin li ulil albab. Indeed, in the turning of the night and the day, indeed in the creation of the heavens and the inna fi khalqis samawat, the heavens, inna fi khalqis samawati wal ardi, and the earth. وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, and the changing of the night and day. لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, are signs for the people of the inner core heart. And we should recognize, رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا, that, oh Allah, you have not created this out of vain. There's purpose behind this. The purpose behind this is for you to be conscious of Allah. So there's the monthly reminder, which is to go out and sight the moon. And perhaps some of us sighted the moon in the beginning of the month. Perhaps we went out for that. Alhamdulillah. When the end of the month comes, we should do it again. We should look for Allah to create His signs in front of our eyes. And then there's the yearly reminder, Ramadan. A whole month we're blessed with, Ramadan, to orient ourselves towards Allah, to have consciousness of Allah. This comes once a year. So we have the daily, the prayers. Then we have the weekly, Jum'ah. We have the monthly, to sight the moon. This is important. A lot of the ummah has left this. Then the fourth is Ramadan. And then the fifth. So you have the yearly, and then you have the one for your lifetime, the Hajj. That you go and visit the house of Allah if you're able to orient yourself towards Allah. So the signs and the occasions necessary for us to remind ourselves of Allah are in place. And it's up to us to decide whether or not we want to take these signs as signs, or if we want to just think of these as something insignificant. So, getting on the topic of what we actually want to speak about today, because it's Ramadan, and because we're talking about orienting ourselves towards Allah, we'd like to speak about the ayat of Ramadan in Surah Al-Baqarah. So Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O you who believe. Speaking to who? That's speaking to us. Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. That fasting has been prescribed upon you. It's been prescribed upon you. Kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. As it's been prescribed upon the people before. But the fasting prescribed upon us is much easier than what the previous nations had. Some of those previous nations could not even speak. Forget eating and drinking. They couldn't even speak. So we're blessed to have this opportunity. And we're in our air-conditioned masajid. We're in our air-conditioned homes. We're in our air-conditioned work. We drive in our air-conditioned cars. It's not that hard for us. It's not that hard for us. Kutiba alaykum siyam. That fasting has been prescribed upon us. And there's people who were brought forcefully to this continent 400 years ago, who are working in the fields, under starvation diets, and were whipped, and they were still fasting. So we don't have an excuse. We can't say it's too difficult for us. It's not that long. When does suhoor end? Latest, suhoor ends like 4:20. And then when is iftar? About 8:20. That's not that many hours. That's not something difficult for us. But why are we fasting? This isn't Allah's weight loss program for us. This isn't for us to feel bad for the poor. These are hikmas, these are wisdoms inside this fasting. But what's the purpose of this fasting? كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُم. Why? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that you may be God conscious. So that you may be God conscious. That you may remember Allah. You may think of Allah. That you're in a state where your stomach feels it. Your eyes feel it. You're tired. You don't have energy. But why don't you have this energy? This is for Allah. That all the actions that you do, you can have riyah in them. You can have ostentation. You can show off in these. You can show people your prayers. You can show people your dhikr. You can show people your zakat. You can show people your hajj. But who knows whether you're really fasting or not? Who knows that when you go into the bathroom to make wudu, are you not taking a sip of water? Who knows that? This is an action that Allah said is for Him. That this is what fasting is. This is God consciousness. This is a manifestation of God consciousness in our lives. So we should take it as that. We shouldn't take it as a month where we're forced to be hungry, a month where we're forced to stand up and pray at night. This isn't what it's about. This is about God consciousness. And then what does Allah say after that? أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَاتٍ. That these are very few days. 30 days is not much. These are very, very few days. Out of the 365 days that we have in our year, 30 days we give to Allah. At least. Where we hold back from what we're able from what is halal. So Allah shows us you can withhold from the halal. You can withhold from food. You can withhold from the pleasures that are in this dunya. So how hard is it to withhold from the haram when the month passes? Then when you build the good habits of perhaps eating healthier, perhaps reducing how much you eat. Allah says in the Quran, "Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu," that eat and drink. We're permitted to eat and drink. وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. But don't be excessive. Don't be wasteful. How many times are we wasteful during our iftars? How many times are we wasteful during suhoor? How many times do we pick up a bottle of water and drink half of it and throw it away during Taraweeh? Alhamdulillah, this masjid doesn't have water bottles for Taraweeh anyways. But how many times are we finding ourselves in situations where we fill up our plates because we haven't eaten all day, and then half the food we can't finish? And then we stuff ourselves, and then when it's time to stand for Taraweeh prayer, we're standing there and we can't focus on what the Imam is saying. Why? Because our stomachs are so full. And we're trying to get out and not throw up all the food that we've eaten. I mean, we're trying to get out of there. We're waiting for it to be over. This is not how we want to stand in our prayers. This is not how we want our worship to be. We don't want this to be worship that gives us tiredness and that gives us simple hunger. The Prophet ﷺ said, how many people receive mere hunger and tiredness from their fasting and their prayer? That this isn't the point of our fasting and our prayer. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man sama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi." That whoever fasts the month of Ramadan, imanan wa ihtisaban, in the state of iman, wa ihtisaban, in seeking a reward from Allah, seeking hisab from Allah, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi, that everything that he has done before will be forgiven for him. Everything that he has done before will be forgiven for him. And we're in the 10 days of forgiveness, and the 10 days of manumission are coming up, where Allah sets people free from the fire. These are the 10 days we're in of Ramadan. The 10 days of mercy passed, the first 10. And then we're in the 10 days of forgiveness, the middle 10. And the last 10 are the last 10 days of manumission. So that whoever fasts the month of Ramadan, seeking in a state of iman, seeking a reward from Allah, then everything that he has done before will be forgiven. So from year to year, everything that you've done from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, inshallah, will be forgiven. And how many mistakes do we make in the year? None of us are in a state where we can say that we are free from mistakes. We probably made mistakes on the way here. We'll probably make mistakes going on the way back. That when we finish the prayer, how do we end our prayer? After we say the salam, what's the dua? Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. We seek Allah's forgiveness even at the end of the prayer because we have not fulfilled Allah's right even in that prayer. All we've done is tried our best. And we haven't given Allah what He deserves, and we can't give Allah what He deserves, but we try our best. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man qama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi." Whoever stands in Ramadan. What does the standing mean? The nights of Ramadan, in the Taraweeh prayers, in Tahajjud, in the time of suhoor. Maybe we finish our eating a little bit earlier. And then we take that last few moments before Fajr to stand with Allah. Or maybe before our suhoor, whenever is good for us. Before the Fajr comes in. We're awake at that time anyways. And we should, whoever does those actions, whoever stands, seek in a state of faith, and seeking reward from Allah, everything is forgiven. Everything that he has done before is forgiven for him. How many opportunities is Allah providing us? How many opportunities is Allah providing us? And then these last 10 days coming up, that in these last 10 days, what is the dua that the Prophet ﷺ used to make? A man, the perfect man who made absolutely no mistakes whatsoever in his life, what is he asking for? Allahumma innaka afu, kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afu, fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are the forgiver, so forgive me. You love to forgive, so forgive me. If that's what the Prophet ﷺ is asking for and he couldn't make mistakes, then what about us? What should we be doing in these last upcoming 10 days? أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم لسائر المسلمين يا قوم استغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. If you missed the last couple of minutes, it's very simple. Ramadan comes once a year. These events might not come back in our lives. Be where Allah has placed you. Kun haythu aqamak Allah. Be where Allah has placed you and take advantage of what's given to you. Don't wait for the next Ramadan to come. We don't know if tomorrow will come, let alone the next Ramadan. Ayyaman ma'dudat, these are very few days. Our lives are very few days. That our lives, if we see our lives now and compare to what is in the akhirah, this is completely insignificant. That we don't have time to chase the dunya. We don't have time to chase wealth and fame and cars and money and status. We don't have time for this. We weren't created for this. وَمَا خَلَقْتَ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that we have not created jinn and man except to worship me. So this is what we've been created for. So whatever actions that we do, whether we're at work, whether we're seeking livelihood, or whether we're entertaining our children, or whether we're entertaining our parents or our friends, that this should be done for the pleasure of Allah. That this is what we should be doing. Be where Allah has placed you. Allah has placed us in the month of Ramadan. So know that this is Shahr Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Qur'an. This is the month of Qur'an. Don't waste time with other things. Don't go home. If you can't make it to all 20 rakats of Tarawih, that's fine. You don't have to come. It's not a fard. You should come, but you don't have to come. But if you go home and spend that time doing something else other than the worship of Allah, other than spending the time with the Book of Allah, then we're wasting our time. We're losing sight of what our purpose is. And so inshallah, we ask Allah we be people who don't lose sight of Him. And we ask Allah that we be people who have taqwa, who have consciousness of Allah in the month of taqwa. We ask Allah that He allows us to finish Ramadan. We ask Allah that we are able to find the Laylatul Qadr. Allahumma ballighna Laylatul Qadr. We ask Allah we be people who are able to reach the end of this month and reach Eid. We ask Allah that we are people who have happiness when Eid comes. We ask Allah that we find the benefits of this month. We ask Allah that we are people of the Qur'an. Allahumma ij'alna min ahli al-Qur'an. Allahumma ij'alna min ahli al-Qur'an. Allahumma ij'alna min ahli al-Qur'an. We ask Allah that we have the character of the one who was the walking Qur'an, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Allah, make our character like him, like his, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Allah, we ask you that we find benefit in these few days that we have left. Ya Allah, we ask you that we're able to reach the end of this month and see the next Ramadan and to live our lives with God consciousness. We ask Allah that every time we take a step, we take it for Him, and we ask Allah that every time we do an action, that we see Him before we do the action. We ask Allah that we see His manifestations manifest before us in our lives. We ask Allah that we find His mercy in these last 10 days. We ask Allah that we find His forgiveness in these 10 days. We ask Allah that we found His mercy in the previous 10 days. We ask Allah for forgiveness for anything that we might have done wrong in this month of Ramadan. We ask Allah for anything that we might have done wrong outside of Ramadan. We ask Allah for tawfiq, for goodness inside of this Ramadan and for outside of this Ramadan. And we ask Allah that there's nothing that enters our hearts except Him. We ask Allah that there is nothing that enters our hearts except Him. We ask Allah for forgiveness for our parents and our teachers who have brought us here. So we say, رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا 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 رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. We ask Allah that there's no source of peace for us other than Him. So for that we say, Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram hayyina wa adkhilna dar as-salam. And we ask Allah to recognize that Allah and His angels send the blessings and salutations upon the Prophet ﷺ, and we are asked to do the same. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala an-nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala azwaji sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ashabi sayyidina محمد وعلى أحباب سيدنا محمد وعلى أتباع سيدنا محمد وعلى أمة سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقم الصلاة.